This is Eagle Owl, and today we're gonna go ahead and talk about Hurts and Sirianni. Their relationship is still on rocks. Also, we got to talk about Eddie Jackson. He was almost an Eagle before he went to Baltimore, but they're saying Justin Simmons is still on our radar. But let's get straight into it. All right, man, let's talk about this, I guess, one more time. Yes, one more time. Hurts and Sirianni. Okay, so Diana Rossini officially reported that that offense we seen last year, all Nick Sirianni. Brian Johnson was the scapegoat, and it was all Nick Sirianni. But let me play this clip.
Relationship that's a work in progress, right? So last year, there was some disconnect, right, between them in their personalities.
Were they not on the same page the entire year? Because I want to stop you, because that's what you just said is important to the conversation, because they started 10-1. Everything was all rosy. You never heard about their relationship. All of a sudden, they finished really, really bad.
Those 10 wins were a grind from what I was told. Every win felt like a really big feat for them because of the challenges that they were facing in terms of what they were doing on offense. It was Nick Sirianni's show.
100%.
It was all Nick.
Yep.
Play call, everything you saw on that field was Sirianni.
See, this is something I've been knew, and I had a feeling about it, because if you look at the 2021 offense and compare it to the 2023 offense, it's damn near identical. You could tell when Shane Steichen took over and when it was Nick Sirianni's, right? And I believe Nick Sirianni really has a passion for play calling, but he's just not good at it. He really didn't do it with the Colts, because we all know that was all Frank Wright. And when we succeeded the Eagles, that was Shane Steichen. So Nick Sirianni, I think he's a motivator. I think the players get along with him. I think he's a player coach type guy, in which those guys can win Super Bowls. As Harbaugh and Baltimore, like, these dudes could win, even though Campbell and Detroit didn't win anything. But just him being a motivator there and having an offensive play caller there, just call everything, is good enough. You can win Super Bowls not being a primary play caller. And that's what Nick Sirianni got to get in his head, because he even said it with John McMullen. Sometimes his selfishness can kick in because he wants to run the offense, and he's just not good at it. So I believe that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, yeah, their relationship is a work in progress. I think it's because he got Brian Johnson fired. I'm sorry. That's what I think it is. I think Brian Johnson was the scapegoat, and that was Jalen Hurts. That wasn't just no offensive play caller. This is a guy he knew since a kid, who he got an opportunity to coach Jalen Hurts as a QB coach and be an offensive play caller to finally get his big break, and Nick Sirianni ruined it. We got to be honest. Nick Sirianni ruined that. And then remember, at the time when he got fired, quote unquote, he's like, yo, why is he getting like head coaching, opportunities? And obviously he didn't get a head coaching job, but a lot of teams were still like interviewing him after the collapse. We're like, something going on here, because if a team collapsed, nobody want to talk to your staff. But a lot of people were talking to Brian Johnson. And the only reason I believe he wasn't hired is because you can't justify to the fans and probably even the owner, you hiring a guy that came from a team that collapsed. So Brian Johnson got to rebuild that resume again. Unfortunately, he's with Washington, so it's crazy. I hope he fell there, and the only reason why is because he was Washington. Or I just hope he do good against other teams, just not against the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's not going back to like an offensive coordinator. He's going to like pass game coordinator or something like that. So he really had to work his way back up. All because Nick Sirianni just didn't let the guy do his job. Because Nick Sirianni wanted to prove to the world he can do it, and he got the pieces to do it, and it's just still didn't work. I mean, them plays, them 3rd and 15s, and then you run the screen to Julio Jones and stuff like that. It just was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And I think that's what ruined like the Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni relationship. Now, I will also say this too. It's time to get over this. It's time to get over this. Nick Sirianni, again, I think he's a cool guy. I think a lot of the players like him. Even Nick Sirianni was spotted at AJ Brown kids camp. He was doing something for the kids, and Nick Sirianni was there supporting AJ Brown. So I don't think there's a problem far as with the other players, but Jalen Hurts probably took it more personal because Brian Johnson was his guy. And hopefully they can repair it. You know, again, it's a work in progress, but Jalen Hurts don't have to work directly with him. He could just work with Kellen Moore and the QB coach, and Nick Sirianni can have his hands in here and there. But I think Jalen Hurts took like his, I guess, friend or a guy he grew up with. You know, he took it personal that he got fired because of Nick Sirianni. That's what I believe. That's just my authentic thoughts of all the reports and everything that's coming out. How Nick Sirianni is admitting like that was his offense. He said it during press conference. We just didn't believe him. He said that was his offense. It wasn't Brian Johnson. And turns out, yeah, he wasn't lying. He was dead serious. Like that terrible offense we seen, that was Nick Sirianni. That was not Brian Johnson. Man, I feel bad for Brian Johnson, man. But again, hopefully Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni can get over this. And hopefully us fans, you know, we can get over this. You know, it's a new season again. Kellen Moore's the play caller. We know he ain't going to have nothing to do with nothing. Nick Sirianni, he's just going to be the motivator on the team. But I think Howie, I usually don't like when the front office step in to stuff. But I like that Howie like went out like, yo, I'm going to get an experienced guy. I'm going to give you Kellen Moore. And then I'm going to give Vic Fangio, because it was reported after that report by Diana Rossini came out that Howie Roseman was heavily involved in getting Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. So Howie had to step in, and I like that he stepped in at that point. Now, him calling players who should be on the field, this and that, I don't think he's going to get that over on the Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. But Howie got the guys that can control their side of the ball. And Michael Clay been doing one hell of a job. Salute to him. Been doing one hell of a job with the special team. So we got some really good coordinators on three sides of the ball. And again, man, I really hope Hurts and Nick Sirianni work this thing out. They work this thing out. And again, if they can't, Hurts don't have to work with them. All right, so let's talk about Eddie Jackson. Yes, Eddie Jackson, he has signed with the Baltimore Ravens. Why am I talking about him? Is because it was reported that the Eagles were interested in him. Like, there was legit talks with the Eagles, Howie Roseman, Eddie Jackson. It's reported that Howie Roseman is being cheap with the safety market because he knows a lot of guys you could pick. But teams are starting to sign these dudes. Like Jamal Adams went to the Tennessee Titans, if I'm not mistaken. Eddie Jackson is off the board, so you still got Justin Simmons out there, Quandra Diggs, and more. Like you got guys out there, but Howie is playing this smart because Sidney Brown is the biggest aces card out there, right? Because you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you got Reed Blankenship, but if Sidney Brown's not ready, you probably have to sign somebody for a 1-year deal. Now, the problem is that if you sign Justin Simmons to a 1-year deal, you're going to have to put Reed Blankenship on the bench. You just have to. Like, we talking about a guy who's still in the conversation of being top 10. Who's still in the conversation. So that's the problem there. So I know how he's in a sticky situation, because if he signed Justin Simmons on a cheap deal and he put Justin Simmons on the bench, well, you could justify like, well, he is on a cheap deal, but you can't justify the play. Justin Simmons is just better than Reed Blankenship, but Reed Blankenship is still developing. And then you're going to have Sidney Brown coming back. Now he's going to be behind Reed Blankenship and Justin Simmons. So I think the Eagles are stuck between that. So hopefully, you know, Sidney Brown is at least ready if needed. If not, you're going to have to sign somebody. But Howie is, quote unquote, being cheap with the safety market, as he should, because we got the pieces there. Just again, Sidney Brown is the ace. Like, I like how Mekhi Gardner is developing. To me, each year he gets better and better. So if you could keep around Mekhi Gardner and you have Sidney Brown, then, you know, Reed Blankenship and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, cool. But if you take Sidney Brown out of that equation and Mekhi Gardner is your next guy, it's like, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. So the Eagles should really, really think about this, assigning the safety, and maybe they gonna have to cough up a little bit more money because they saying the Eagles are offering guys vet minimums, and so we'll see. Or maybe we go with Diggs. Maybe we go with Diggs. Diggs. You can. I don't even know if you could justify even having him on the bench. To be honest, maybe you can because he's much older. But I don't know. I think Diggs is up there with Reed Blankenship too. So I don't know what the Eagles do in this situation. You want to play the young guys, don't want to sign older guys. But we need an older guy because we are thin at safety. So we'll see how the Eagles play this out. Maybe Howie Roseman go into camp, see what he got. And like, you know what? Yeah, we need somebody. Or Vic Fangio go up to Howie Roseman like, yo, Reed Blankenship, I knew you guys love him, but I don't think he can fit the system as good as such and such. Maybe we pull something like that. We'll see. We'll definitely see. But hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news today? All right. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, will they get it together? Howie Roseman stepping in, got to step in and do his thing. And Howie Roseman being cheap with the safety market. Is it a smart move? I don't know. But this is Eagle Owl, man. I'm out.